Hi, comic book guys and gals. I'm Joe, and welcome to this very, very important and great live stream. Last Saturday, I met up with Matt Woods in Providence, New Jersey, at the Near Mint Expo. Now, I had two big reasons for going to the Near Mint Expo. The really first important reason was to meet Matt Woods, my bud. I wanted to see him finally, shake his hand, say hi. And I managed to do that. And that was a thrill in and of itself. All right. But the second thing was Roy Thomas was the main attraction. And I was a big Roy Thomas fan from way back. And I knew that Matt was as well. And the fact they were able to get there and to see Roy and discuss things with him. And later on in the evening, have dinner with Roy and talk to him some more was a thrill. Certainly a thrill for me. And if I remember Matt couldn't even talk. He was so excited over it. So any event, I think that, it was a great night, and I have some video, thanks to Matt, to a few minutes. But let's see who's here. So right now, let's see. All right, Gary B. Hey, I'm glad you could make it. I know you got a big thing going on at 9:30. We'll be out of there long before that. All right. Flame Brain Comics is here. How's it going, guys? Tina, good to see you. I'm glad you made it here. All right, so we got anybody else in here right now? We got Psychedelic Comics. I knew you'd make it. Great. We have a few more people that'll probably show up, but we're going to go on and keep going with this. So without further ado, let me bring in my partner in crime, Mr. Matt Woods. Matt, how you doing?
Joe, I'm doing great. And meeting you in Providence, New Jersey, was not on the agenda. We met in Providence, Rhode Island. You accidentally said New Jersey, so
I did. Oh, okay.
But it was a great time. Listen, that was my very first comic book show. I was more excited to meet you and Roy Thomas than I was to go look at books. Like it was quite a joy. Okay, you and I talk a lot. Like quite a bit on Instagram. We DM each other and we're always commenting in each other's videos. It was great to actually finally, meet you.
Well, likewise. And I think the other nice thing was that you had, I think I met your lovely wife there because she braved the full, 9-hour drive?
It was a 9-hour drive, but, it was actually quite enjoyable. Her and I, we just picked up a brand new car, a couple weeks ago. So that was the first time we got a chance to test it on a long drive. It was quite an enjoyable experience just hanging out with the wife for 9 hours in a car.
Right. That was the Jeep Wrangler, right?
Jeep Gladiator.
Sorry.
It's similar to a Wrangler. You can take the top off, but it has a pickup in the back of it.
That's great. So, one of the things that I thought was really great was the way the entire setup was put together for that, And so one of the things I think is that we can kind of show the people a little bit about what it was about. So let's hold on. Let's let them see it. Yeah. Or
What a space that
it
was.
was an awesome space.
What?
It was an awesome space, and part of it was great because it was really kind of wide open, very airy, right? And it was about 50% comics and 50% sports cards, I'd say. Right? Wouldn't you think?
I would agree with that. It was about 50-50. To talk about space, I was doing some research on that building. That building was built in the 1920s, and I just absolutely enjoyed. I don't know if that's called urban decay or what the architecture of it is, but you can still see the raw brick and the steel beams on it, and like it just made for a very like welcoming atmosphere. And then all the different vendors and all the different people that were there. There was a buzz to that place. There was just a lot of energy. And
But
I talked. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I know where you're going to get to, but the real key was that when people saw Matt Woods, they just started rushing towards him. It's like Matt Woods is here. Matt Woods is here. Now go ahead, if you could tell the story.
Oh, far from. I wasn't even going there. But no, I was talking to my wife about it, and she's she loves to have fun, but comic books are not her thing. Okay, but even she admitted, she goes, she had a lot of fun there, and she said she could feel the energy there, and it was just an exciting place to be. So for my first show ever, I got to meet the great Anachronic Comics, Joe, and you can keep on telling some of the more stories here.
Well, I think you met some other people there that you knew. The three men in the basement guys were there, right? And we met them at the
Otto
at the
Everett
con.
was there,
Yeah.
and Roger was there, and
Right.
I got I don't know how's this go. Okay, I got a little poker chip from them, but I ended up getting 2 poker chips from them. I thought I pocketed one. I ended up realizing the wife got one also, but so these are both legit. But I did think I stole one. But if anyone reaches out to me, I'll still send one off to you.
Right. Matt has a great video on the con and the Roy Thomas stuff. So you should take a look at the video that he has, because he talks a lot about some of the stuff we did. But the good thing about it was we had early admission, right? So
Yes.
we took a quick look around, but then we went straight to the line waiting for Roy to show up. And I think we were in like numbers maybe like 3 and 4 or something like that, or 5, whatever, something along those lines.
You were the 3rd in line, and I was the 4th in line, which how awesome is that? Like I've seen some others. I've only ever been to 2 other signings. One of them was very short. Another one, literally the line, I was in it for 6 hours. Yeah, that was a Clayton Crane line. I was able to actually, they kept your place in there. And Spencer and I went out. We checked out a museum and stuff, and we ended up coming back. So that one wasn't too bad. But I've heard different signings can take forever. But you and I were right up there, right up front.
Okay, so we have a video of the signing, at least this my signing there. And I had a bit of a discussion with Roy, and I wanted to tell people a little bit about it before we get to the video on it. So going way back into the 1964-65 time, Roy Thomas was the editor of Alter Ego magazine. Now, there's an Alter Ego that comes out now. It's published by Tomorrow's Publishing, but this was the original Alter Ego. And Roy was the editor for 7, 8, 9, and 10. I still have 10 back there, which we got Roy to sign. But 7, 8, and 9, including 7, which is considered to be the first appearance of Black Adam in the Silver Age, which goes for $450, $500 now. I had that, but as you're going to see from the video, and I talked to Roy, a lot of the stuff that I got is gone. But there was a cohort of his called Bill Joe White, a little bit older than him, who was a great artist. And he was actually the artist for Alter Ego, but he had also a magazine called Batmania. DC actually allowed him to use Batmania, named the Bat name, for a long time on his magazine. Now, the big thing about it was that people like Roy and Bill Joe were in with the DC guys, with the editors that were there, and talked to them all the time, which is really tremendous. And that's what really enticed me about these guys. This was before the internet, and their fanzines had all this great information in it. And a lot of it that they got directly from DC guys, and later on some Marvel guys too. But this was primarily DC. So Bill Joe had a contest, and the contest was in Alter Ego. They developed a superhero called Captain Captain Walter and Captain Ego. And what he did was, and let me see if I can get it up here, at least a black and white picture of it. Let me share that. Let's see, how does that work? Here we go.
See, I've heard you talk about this, but I've never seen pictures of them.
Well, now you're going to see at least the black and white. I don't have the color picture of it. So here's the black and white picture, and this is Captain Ego. All right. And this is from Batmania magazine. And what it shows is some of the winners. And he says, if you send a tube over to Roy, you win. The key here was that I was one of the winners, not the grand prize winner, but one of the winners. And you could see it. Let's see if I have it here. There it is. Joey Travato. Yeah. Joey Travato was the winner. And what you had to do is to color a particular picture of his and send it in. And if it kind of matched what it was supposed to be, you won. And what I won was a original artwork from Justice League of America. I think it was number 3. But you'll hear me tell Roy that I ain't got it no more. So that's just the way that it kind of works out. So this was like part of what I spoke to him about when he signed the books for me. And I had him, I guess it was an X-Men 35 that I brought in. You know,
yes.
Yep. I also had this Conan book over here, which we also got signed at the dinner. But thanks to Matt, because there were some limitations of what you can get signed. So I gave Matt 2 of my things to sign, and I had him sign some of the stuff. So when you take a look at this, this particular video, the sound, remember, there's a lot of noise. So I tried to deal with the noise on this. So if you can't hear it very well, just put the audio up for this one, and I think you'll hear it pretty well. So this is my interplay with Roy right at the con. Goes back to the alter ego days.
Is this CGC thing?
Yeah, it's going to be a CGC thing, right? So I just want to tell you that I was one of the guys when Bill Joe White did the alter ego thing for
Captain Alter and Captain Ego. Yeah.
I was one of the winners.
Oh, you were?
I wasn't the grand prize
winner.
winner.
The draw. I love to get
No, that was great. I wish I had that.
What did you win?
I won a original artwork thing from, I think it was JLA3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I don't have it anymore because it got lost. So
You know, the funny thing is, Bill Joe's drawing that was the big prize would be worth something. But that page from JLA would be worth probably a couple thousand.
I know, right?
That page from the early 60s JLA,
yeah,
that would be that would be worth $7,000.
Probably. When my parents sold their house, I turned that house inside out looking for that thing.
Yeah.
Not gone.
Listen, I think my
brother-in-law
I got one hanging up on the thing that I actually in my 20s,
right.
I cut a picture out of it.
Oh
For
gosh.
some of the projects, so none of us knew that the stuff was going to be that valuable.
Yeah.
I had whole books, a whole 20-page story of JLA, a couple of them.
Right.
Kind of trading them off.
I remember you going to the DC offices and getting a bound copy of the JSO. And I remember you putting down in there, and it was an old thing to say, I was thinking of some way to make that mine.
Well, I got them all turned out.
I'm sure you did.
I went through 2 or 3 collections before I finally got out of the same.
I love reading the old trades. I love number 10. I don't know what happened to 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
They were gone too. And
Those are the 3 I did before.
Exactly. But they're gone. I don't know what happened to them too. They disappeared. And all the Bill Joe White Batmanias disappeared.
Oh, really? Well,
so that's
you don't have good luck with that.
No.
Bill Joe didn't cover to all 3 of those alter egos.
That's right.
You had bad luck with Bill Joe
And that
White.
number 7, actually, you now I saw one being sold on a CGC graded one for something like $500.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
what
it was a pleasure. You mind if he takes a photo?
No,
Absolutely. You want to come around here? I mean, he's the greatest guy, isn't he?
I was absolutely amazed at how friendly and open he was to just talking to people. And even people other than you and I who were in line, he was just chatting away, just having a good time, laughing the whole time. And, the people that were there for signings, you could tell that they were just enjoying their conversation with Roy Thomas.
Right. I think if it wasn't for his handler, he would spend, I don't know how much time with every person, He was just really, really fantastic that way.
I don't know if you're going to talk about this later, but Roy Thomas actually came up to Joe and I's table, later on in the evening And he was about ready to just start talking, talking away with us. And his handler pretty much took him right away, didn't he?
Right. He's coming over going, this is great. This is great. This was at the dinner later, which, we'll show you some video on that as well. But it was really, really terrific, with respect to that. It was just something that, I mean, I have to tell you, I was smiling from ear to ear. I was like so excited and happy over that. And the fact that I could talk to him about something from way back in the 60s, was just great. And the fact that he remembered, was Captain Ego. And he talked about the grand prize, which was a colored drawing that Bill Joe White had made. And he'd love to get a hold of it.
Yes.
But I didn't have it to give to him.
The way he was just pulling back those memories, seriously, from 56 years ago, that was kind of impressive. Like, he was just rattling off facts about it. And
yeah, he's 80 years old now, but he's definitely with it.
Absolutely.
And sitting behind him, if people saw, was his wife, Dan, who's a comic book, author and writer in her own right.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's famous in her own right. Yep.
Right. Exactly. So that was pretty cool, and I see some people here, looking at it saying it was awesome, and so forth, and so wholesome, Matthew, that's right. I think that's a good way of describing him, right? Don't you think, Matt?
I would agree with that. Matt Stivalletti, he has a very perceptive mind, and absolutely just wholesome. But the first two people you just showed there, Psychedelic Comics and Matt Stivalletti, I've met both of those people in person. Like, I've been really lucky getting around the country the last year.
All right. Well, that's great. That's great. And I'm hoping to be able to meet some of these people myself as well as we go forward. So one of the things I think that you started to talk about was the dinner, right? So just to kind of set it up a little bit, it was, I guess, a small group, Matt. I think they only sold a maximum of, I think, what was it, 40 tickets, I think it was?
That's what I was told, 40, yes.
I don't even know that they had the 40 there, because we checked in the morning. There were still tickets for sale. So I'm not sure that they sold them all, even from being there and having the dinner and so forth. And at that point in time, too, I think it was it Otto from Three Men in the Basement came by with his phone and started taking video again of Matt Woods, the star. But Matt said that Joe of Anachronic Comics got me here. So then he turned around, and he couldn't say Anachronic, because that's hard to say unless you practice. But I waved and I said, yeah, Matt is here, and joking around saying, Matt took him weeks to make this decision. Of course he didn't. I think he decided overnight. The whole key was just making that drive to get there.
Yeah, that was the biggest hurdle I had to get over mentally. Yep.
Yeah, and so the dinner was kind of nice. Actually before that too, we spent some time together, which was really nice. We went out for some coffee, waiting for the dinner to start, and had a real nice conversation. A nice meeting, and it was just like I knew you forever.
Without a doubt, comic book collecting is great for the books. I love the books. Okay, I'm going to pull one right here. I can pull all kinds of books. I have a Roy Thomas signed Submariner #1. These are cool. I mean, you get excited when you get them. The best part of this hobby, by far, without a doubt, it's the people you meet, the friendships you make, and they're lasting friendships. They're not just fleeting, in the pan type of friendships. They're good people that you meet in this hobby. Right. And I think that's a unique thing. You find friends in all walks of life, absolutely true, but there's something unique about comic book people. They're just good people.
You know what it is with me? I mean, normally when you go through life, you end up having maybe one or two like really close, good friends, right?
Yes.
But through the medium of comics and what we do here, I kind of feel that a lot of the people that I deal with are, if not there, pretty close. Like if you just have a few minutes, like we had having coffee, you can develop that type of close relationship, I think. And so it's just amazing. I feel really blessed to have, gotten involved with this stuff and to get to know some people out there.
You said it perfectly right there. It's just, we're blessed. Yep.
Right. So let's get back to the dinner then. So
what a time.
Just to go on to the next part of this thing. So back in 1964, when I saw Bill Joe White with his Batmania, and I saw Roy Thomas being the editor-in-chief of Alter Ego. Here I was. I think you'll see in the video, I told Roy I was 11 years old. So I showed it to my wife. She says, "You're a liar. You weren't 11. You were like 14 or something." I said, "You're right." I couldn't count right at the time because I was all nervous talking to Roy Thomas.
I remember doing the mental math when you said it. I'm like, no, he was older.
I was older than that. Yeah. So I was 13, I think, and then with the second letter, I was 14. So here, being a 13-year-old and drawing my own comics like a lot of people did and doing all that type of stuff, I started to say, "Gee, I should do my own fanzine," not knowing really what I was doing. So I decided to send Roy. First of all, I wrote to Bill Joe White asking if he would do some drawings for me. And he was very nice guy. I mean, I don't have any of the correspondence with him, but it was very, very nice guy. And, very lightly said no. Said he was very busy with Batmania and Alter Ego, and really couldn't do it. So then I wrote to Roy and I started to think about it. Well, I really can't. What can I ask him to do? So what I thought I'd do is give him a questionnaire, which I did. So here's the questionnaire. Let me grab it. Give me a sec here while I find it.
We get to see how 13-year-old Joe's mind works. Okay,
right? It was actually pretty good. I was kind of proud of myself when I read this here. So
I was impressed. I'm a school teacher, and I was absolutely impressed with that.
Okay, let me see. All right, there it is. So here's the questionnaire. So the first one, and these are part of his answers. There's a second page to this too. So I considered the best comic magazine on the market now. Notice the double underline. It's now to be. And his answer he typed in was the Fantastic Four. The next one was, I considered the best comic magazine on the market during the 1940s to be, and he put down All Star Comics. I've been reading comics for 18 years. My age is 24, which makes sense. He's 10 years older than me. That's why I should be realized I was 14, And I consider All Star Comics to be the best comic magazine because 50 words or less in the back. And I won one Alley Award, 1961 until now. So on the back, he writes, I believe that All Star Comics was the best comic book ever published, at least so far as its basic idea was concerned. Even today, when I could pick the often meager plots to shreds and point to glaring breaks in continuity which no present-day editor should accept, I believe the idea of the combination of various heroes into one organization, the best idea ever conceived for a comic book. So I think that was kind of a great answer, that he put together with respect to that. So it's just something that I think from a practical matter, you could see that he was thoughtful about it. He was into comic books and, really what the story of the comic books have to be.
What I noticed about his answers is his answers stay consistent. The way he talked about the team continuity of All Star Comics, that helped understand why he thought that Fantastic Four was the best current comic magazine at that time, because it was also a team assembly. Yes.
Right. Once the Justice League came in, Gardner Fox created both the Justice Society of America and the Justice League of America. That kind of reinstituted that whole thing. And, then the story with them coming at with the publisher and Marvel coming out and said, we need something like Justice League. I had dinner with the guy, with Mort Weisinger at DC and all that. And, and that's what developed there, that, and then the Avengers and so forth. And to this day, I mean, whether it's the movies or whether it's the comic books, those are really kind of the more significant books in some ways, where you have more than one.
X-Men, Avengers, Fantastic Four, absolutely.
Right.
And then they keep changing up the lineup of the Avengers all the time, which, keeps some interest going.
Yeah, that's true. So just so you can see, you're going to hear him say something. I want to show you something first before we get over to the video. So this is the envelope. You see the date there, December of 1964. My birthday was in January, so I was still 13. When he sees this envelope, he says, "That's not my handwriting." And I started to say, I just skipped over the whole thing. I didn't even bother answering him on that, because I said, what? It's not your handwriting. So I said, I don't know whose that is. But anyway, you'll hear him say that. But that's what he's talking about. Now, there is another letter. All right. And I'm not sure if I can grab. Let me show you the envelope for that letter.
Yeah, this one was it a full year later?
No, you'll see. It was in July of 1965. I'm not going to tell anybody what this letter is about. I want you to watch and listen, to Roy's reaction to seeing this letter, because it's just amazing, I think. And this one, the video, there's a lot more background noise, but I think it's clearer. You can still put your volume up if you think you need to, but I think you'll be able to hear this a lot better. So let me find it, and then we'll play the video. Okay. Just hold on for a second.
I'm excited to see this video.
Yeah, I hope it comes out okay. I really tried to get it so that you try to put that background noise down, but keep the voices up.
You had a great cameraman, I must say.
And I still haven't
shameless plug.
I still haven't paid the guy, so. All right. Let's see. I think I'm going to grab it now. Just give me a sec to get to the right spot. Okay, here it is. And if you would like to sign them and maybe say something, that would be great. Let me show you. I was 11 years old when I wrote to you. And you wrote back. I was 12. I think you were 24. So I wrote back. These are the letters. I live in the city. Wow. This is what I wrote to you. It's not my handwriting. You didn't sign it. So if you wouldn't, since you didn't sign it, if you wouldn't mind signing it a date or something, if you want to say something, that's great.
What do you say? You had good penmanship, boy.
That was my penmanship. He typed it up.
No, I know.
This must have been typed on that lousy Remington manual that I was working on. Yeah.
Well, so my name is Joe. If you want to put something down there.
If I can't write any better than this, I shouldn't have had that job.
That's cool, man. That's really cool.
Wait until you see the next one.
Hey, he was telling me this story. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, no, I don't remember this.
The next letter is even better.
Today is the 18th.
Today is the 18th.
There you go.
Now, I don't know if you remember, but I told you that I had won, one of the prizes in the Captain Alter thing. I told you this morning.
Yeah.
So I was wondering when the prize was going to come in. So I wrote back to you because your address was in the Alter Ego magazine. So I wrote back to you.
Greensburg, that's my home address. My mother, I had it all sent to my address like you.
Well, you weren't there. You had gone to New York.
Yeah.
So you know who wrote back to me?
No, my mother. She just passed away about 5 years ago. Yeah, that's right.
Now, were you writing to him because of the alter ego stuff?
Yeah, I was a big fan.
This is written only about. This is only written about a month after I went to New York, and only a couple of weeks after I went to Amsterdam.
And that's the date my daughter was born.
July 25th.
Yeah.
Not that year.
No, not that
She
year.
says that you were in New York. You didn't have permanent address.
Right, I was still, I was moving around a couple of places. Yeah. I had moved in with Dave Cable at that point, but it was temporary.
Take your time, read it. It's very good. I've kept this for like 50 some odd years.
Oh, yeah?
I wish you could send me maybe could you send me an email or something?
I sure will.
And the envelope and everything? I'd love
Just
to
let
have
me
it.
know, yeah.
Sure. Great.
If you want to-
This is Roy Thomas Sr. See?
I know, I saw
Roy
that.
Thomas Sr.
If you want to give me,
Just to make sure that they didn't think I'm in a lie.
well, if you want to give me an email address, I'd be happy to send it.
Sure. There you go. Thank you.
Okay, you want to write it down on this?
Yeah.
I'll do it as soon as I get home.
No, yeah. Well, it's okay. Yeah.
It's
Sue.
Yeah.
There you
All right,
go.
let me try to get that right.
It's an evolution of alter ego, just about.
57 years old.
Okay, so it's Roy and then your wife, right?
Yeah,
And
NTINET.com. It's an alter ego.
So you like give him his
Yeah, now what's your name?
Joe. When I found out you were going to be here, I said, I got to
Yeah,
go. Only because I have
She
these.
probably told me the time she did that, but I don't remember.
That's really cool, man. That's awesome.
My corner-along suffering mother, she helped 2 bells be alive.
Well, she was obviously your secretary helping you out there,
The
right?
year before we went to Mexico, she was setting up the comics. I was selling while I was doing this. All
right.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, no, not that.
Okay, it's okay. Oh yeah, this is the back cover of it.
That's the back cover, yeah.
Yeah.
We could sign that around
All
there.
right. That a great picture, Gil?
Here, I'll let you.
There you go.
And then this book right here. You told me that story about the letters. I just thought that was amazing.
Okay.
Wherever you want to.
Roy, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
I appreciate your bringing that.
You take care.
Yeah.
Matt.
M-A-T-T?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you take care. I'll make sure I'll send that out in the next couple of days. Okay?
Awesome.
All right. Take it easy. So unfortunately, the first part of it kind of got critted out. That's the StreamYard for you, you know. But basically, the second part was the part that was really, really important.
I still think it came out pretty darn good, Joe. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I was there in person, and that's the first time I've seen the video. That came out a lot better than I had hoped that it would come out. I figured with all that background noise, no way we'd ever hear it. That was an awesome video, man.
You know, I mean, you could see his face when it lit up, and he goes, "Was it my mother that sent that?" I said, "Yeah, it was your mother." And he goes, "That's her handwriting," you know, which was really, really terrific. You know, and I traded a couple of emails with him afterwards. You know, I sent him the stuff and all that. He thanked me, and he said, "Could you send me the Q&A, the interview as well?" I said, "Yeah, sure. I'll send it over to you." I was almost, and then I told him I felt that, you know, the letter was a little bit, you know, kind of personal stuff. I thought a little bit. So I said to him, you know, I have a video, you know, I have a YouTube channel. Is it okay if I, you know, show it and whatever else? And he said, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. So I was kind of hoping, saying, hey, do you want me to go on your channel?
Right?
I didn't
How
ask
cool
him.
would that have been?
That would have been really cool. So I do have the, just so people can see it, I do have the letter. So let me get that. Let me get the letter up for you so people can see it. Okay, so there it is. So if you take a look at it, it says, Roy is in New York, but as yet, no permanent address. So I'll answer the parts of your letter that I can. AE number 9, that's alter ego, has been at the publisher for a month, and he took it to them before he left. They promised them to me 4 times already. The latest was Saturday, but again, I didn't get them. So I called this morning, and again, he promised to ship them to me this week. You can be sure you'll receive your copy as soon as I get them. I also sent you JLA artwork out. Some went out Thursday, some went out Friday of last week. So by now you probably have it. I did, but I don't have it anymore.
Oh.
The other parts of your letter, I can't answer them. Sincerely, Mrs. Roy Thomas Sr., which, you know, I mean, just terrific. The fact that she was basically his assistant, as he said in the thing, right? Sending out his, you know, comics he sold. And
I was going to say, what a loving mother to, you know, take that upon herself to do that for her son. Like that was just outstanding of her, if you ask me.
Well, you know, I didn't think it's mid-America, you know, especially at that time. It was, I mean, who was it? You know, Matthew Stivletti said, you know, the wholesomeness and stuff there. That was just, you could see it in his mother's thing as well. And, you know, I know you showed your poster. I went out the next day and got a frame for it.
Ooh, that's
Got a
looking
little
sharp.
frame. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah, I just got to find a place for it. And it's pretty cool. You got the, let me see, right there.
Oh, I'm gonna have to
Enjoy
go out
right
and get
time.
one.
Yeah, this is a very simple one, you know, but
I
it was
still
good.
have mine in the plastic. It's not
Started in the
framed yet,
plastic.
but it will be.
Yeah, but that was pretty cool. So, you know, we didn't tell people what you got signed at the con. I know it was in your videos. People should watch it, but what did you get signed at the con?
Well, I had a raw copy of this book that I'm going to hold up right here. Savage Tales #1. This is one of those mid-major keys that keeps on getting more major. But I had a raw copy, and I've had that raw copy longer than I had the graded copy. And I was just happy to have, Roy Thomas put his signature on there. And it's off to CGC. I looked. The grading time for a magazine for CGC, it's like 209 days.
Yeah.
And the pressing time for a magazine, which is on top of the 209 days, it's 187. And those are business days. Those are not calendar days. I might not see that book for 2 years. That book's going to be gone for a long time.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, but that's all right. I'm going to forget about it. And then someday it's going to show up in the mail and it's going to be like I got a brand new comic book.
Yeah, and maybe it'll be like a 9.8.
It won't be a 9.8, but I compared it to this 9.4, and it's pretty close, especially after a pressing. It very well can come back, a 9.4. I'm expecting a 9.0, or 9.2, but that means it's probably going to come back a 6.5 because somebody cut something out in the middle page somewhere. But
yeah,
I don't think so. I've read that book, but you never know.
Well, Matt, I just want to say having you there really made it. I mean, it was awesome, but having you there made it super awesome, and I was really happy that you were able to come and to kind of share the whole experience with me. I think it's just terrific.
I'm not going to lie, Joe. Going to my first show with my wife and a great friend, it made it, such a great experience. So thank you for letting me know about that. And, you had a long drive yourself to get there. It wasn't just right down the block. So
about an hour and a half.
Making that trip.
Yeah, about an hour and a half it was. So it wasn't even half as bad as yours.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was great. And I hope we get to do it again sometime. And if I get my X-Men 35 back, that's going to be a mid-grade. I know that. Hopefully even a 5 if it gets to be that. It was one of the ones thrown in the corner, but hopefully it'll come back fine. But the big thing was I just wanted to get some stuff with Roy's signature on it because I didn't have anything. And now I've got 2 here, 3 counting the poster, and I'll have a 4th one, and it'll be great. It'll be great to have that in the collection.
I think your connection with Roy Thomas is legendary. I really do because you connected with him back in the 1960s, and then just this past weekend, and he remembered it. Like that to me, that's an amazing story. It's like a full circle type of story.
Yeah. Well, part of it just is being older and, and really just being involved at, a really terrific time in comic books, because I still remember, I think my first comic, I probably read it in like the barber shop, something like that. But then just being able to, with my best friend John, kind of getting into it, and like in the probably 1959, 60, starting to go to the store and like picking up, with maybe 10 or 20 cents and picking up a couple of comic books, and being able then to just sit down and to read them and share them. As I mentioned, my close group of friends, they weren't really comic readers, but other kids at school were. So we would trade with some of them or whatever else. The guys that I hung out with were mostly playing sports, doing all different things like that. But my best friend John, into everything I was into, so that was, we easily became best friends, and comic books was something that connected us even up to today.
I think if you ask anyone, what time they wish they got into comic books, probably the late 50s to the mid 60s would be the answer. So you were like at the golden age, and I realize the golden age is the older books, but you were at like the best age of comic books, in my opinion.
So Matt asked the important question.
That is the important one.
Now, the key is, Matthew, that I don't know. Because if you hear the story, and I was on the Usual Suspects with Gary B, and I think I got a similar question, and I'm going to be on 10 Questions with Jimmy Don soon, maybe in a week or two, and we already taped it. The big thing was that I've got a series on this, The Comics My Mom Lets Me Keep. When we moved from Manhattan to one of the outer boroughs, I was quote unquote asked by my mom to reduce the number of comics I had. And I don't know. I don't think I had it. I think I've convinced myself I did not, because that way I could live with myself. You know? But I do have amazing, and it was called Amazing Adult Fantasy up to number 14. I do have number 10. So the fact that I could possibly have had 15, maybe. So let's look at it one of two ways, Matthew. Either I could say that I once owned AF-15. Or I could say, nah, I never had it. I don't know which one is better.
Here's a legit question, because you talk about you and your friends. You guys would buy, and like one friend would buy these books, another friend would buy these, and you guys would trade. Do you think it's realistic that you read that book and had it in your hand at one time?
I don't think so, because what I remember, and I'm putting together my ASMs for like an episode of the Comics My Mom Let Me Keep, so everybody can see what I've got, and they go up to 19. The Comics My Mom Let Me Keep, we moved in May of 1969. So I have others past that, but those are the ones that fit into that category.
Yeah.
And what I recall, I think this is accurate, is that I got into Fantastic Four, Avengers, X-Men, and happened on Spider-Man number 9 at the store. And then at that time, what I did was start to look for other copies, in the stores. But if at those times they used to rip the top off, send them back to get credit and all that. Mm-hmm. So I managed to find number 5. I think it was either 4 or 5. I can't remember now. I'll have to, when I pull them out, I'll see.
Okay.
But I didn't find any of the others at that time, So because I was already kind of, I guess, 9 months down the road, and some of the early ones were gone by that time. You had to be really lucky to find it, because you went into some of these stores, they didn't have like a good wall of comics and stuff like you have now. They may have had a few. And if they had like a copy of ASM, number 9, they may have had 5. It wasn't like you have, all these comics that were there. So either they sold them out, or they threw them out, or they sent them back for credit, one way or the other at that point in time. So it would be really hard. Some bookstores, used bookstores, sometimes had used comics that they bought and sold. It was one that I frequented. But other than that, you really couldn't find them. Yeah. So anyway, but again, it was great. I had the best time. Your wife is a wonderful person. I really enjoyed meeting her, and obviously meeting you and hanging out with you for a bit, and hanging out with Roy just made it a great day. When I came back, I was trying to tell my wife what a great day it was. I'm sure she quite appreciated it. It was just terrific. I just loved it. So,
like you said, it was just a great time all around, like meeting you, going to that show, seeing some awesome books, meeting Roy Thomas. But without a doubt, the highlight for me, Roy Thomas, I was speechless around him. Like, I almost couldn't talk. But I was also trying to make sure I was recording your video and putting effort into that. But the best part about it was meeting you, actually. You and I have been talking for a while, so that was a real treat for me.
Right. And the same thing here. Anyway, so I think, Matt, you have any closing words?
No, it's just, it was a great time at that show. Great time meeting Roy Thomas, and awesome to meet you, sir.
Well, thank you so much. I think as a practical matter, I don't think we could have had a better day, frankly.
It was pretty epic. Let's not lie about it.
Okay. Well, to everybody who tuned in, I see Pretty Fly just came in here. I think Milt I saw as well. Thank you for showing up for the live stream. And I just appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed kind of this, walk down memory lane, I think, with me and with Roy to some extent. It just was a great time, I think. And I think it's just something that you really can't you can't replicate unless you go through it and you see it and you do that. He's the only one I could do this with. I don't think. I mean, Neil Adams a little bit, but Roy, I have a connection with going back to when I was 14, right? So to me, this just made it really terrific. So thanks a lot, everybody. I think we'll finish it up now. And Matt, thank you so much again for effectively being my coach. I think this is kind of a permanent position for you being a coach.
All right. But hey, it's been an honor being on your channel there, sir.
Oh, thanks a lot. All right, guys, everybody take care. Have a good night, and we'll see you soon.